I mean, that's an always, but...
Wow.
Oh.
All right, buddy. Oh. Why are you violent?
Good morning, Pioneers. Welcome to The Grit. My name is Connor Morrison.
And my name is Justice Galvin. Let's start with a recap on this week's sports. Let's get right into it with the sports recap from last week.
On Saturday, both cross-country teams ran against Berlin. For the girls, Brooke Chapman placed first, Marin O'Brien placed 13th, and Clea Case placed 15th. For the boys, Matthew Schroff placed 11th. Boys soccer tied Bexley 1-1 on Saturday, with Carter Musgrove scoring a goal on a free kick.
Girls soccer won against Lexington on Monday with a score of 6-2. The girls are on a roll with a record of 12-2. Congratulations, girls. Keep it up. Field hockey also suffered a devastating loss against Upper Arlington on Monday, 0-6.
The Nears had a perfect day for sports on Tuesday. Both boys and girls soccer won against Hilliard-Bradley. The boys had a dominating win with a score of 9-0, while the girls shut out the Wildcats 3-0.
Girls volleyball also won at Kaufman, home court, 3-0. Maddie Cagino had 9 kills in their matchup. On Wednesday, boys golf finished 5th in the sectionals with an overall score of 307. Andrew Lowry shot 73 and will be moving into districts. For girls tennis, Avery Reed, Olivia Hubbard, and Enya Swarb, Ellie Logan, and Arifa Copsey all qualify and will be moving into districts. For this week's live interview, we have one of Orange senior varsity cheerleaders, Sydney Figley. Let's hand it over to Andrew.
What's up, Pioneers? I'm Andrew Ingram, and I have here today Sid Fig. When does competitive cheer start, and what can you tell us about it?
Our first competition is on November 12th, and it's at Pickerington North High School.
How is competitive cheer different from cheering on the sideline?
Well, obviously the competitive aspect that we will be competing for awards and titles. A lot of it's just more routine stuff and practice, so we have a whole routine that we put together that we present to represent our school.
What do you like about cheering on Friday nights?
I like the lights, I like the energy, I love watching the football team because I personally like football a lot, so yeah.
What do you feel like the challenges of competitive cheer would be like?
Definitely synchronization and making sure everybody's like on the same skill level because a lot of us have like different places that we're at, so we have to really keep everything together.
That's cool. Thank you so much, Sid.
Yeah, of course.
Now back to the desk.
Let's get started with our Pioneer picks for this week with football.
Start off with high school. We've got a great game between Olentangy versus Hilliard Darby. I'm going to go with an upset here with Darby. We saw them able to beat our very own Orange Pioneers with that weird triple option. And, I think it'll be a good game, but I think Darby will come out with the victory.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that pick. I think that they're both good teams. Darby just runs such an interesting offense that it's very hard to scheme against on the defensive side, and I think that that'll be what determines who wins tonight.
Yep. And then next up, Berlin versus Dublin-Jerome. This should be a pretty easy game for Berlin, being one of probably the best Olentangy team at the moment besides us, obviously. But they're a very good team, 6-1 on the season. Jerome 2-5, so I got Berlin coming on top on that one.
Absolutely. I think Dublin-Jerome's a pretty good team. They've got a well-rounded offense, but I think that Berlin just has a better defense that'll be able to stop them and has a pretty explosive offense of their own.
Yep. And then we got Liberty versus Hilliard-Bradley. Liberty has probably been the most disappointing of the Olentangy teams. The rest of them have, really shut out this year. So, and they're going against probably the best team in Central Ohio with Bradley. I mean, they're 7-0 on the year. They haven't lost. They also haven't dropped. They have dropped over 20 points in every single one of their games, which is, pretty impressive. So I think Bradley will come out pretty on top pretty easily.
Absolutely. I think that Liberty is definitely under the radar as far as the team. They won against Upper Arlington, who was Orange's opponent this week. I think that was definitely an upset that a lot of us didn't see coming. Like you said, I do agree. Hilliard Bradley is a really good team. Obviously, don't have a loss. Haven't had less than 20 points in a game. I don't think that's something that Liberty's going to be able to change this week.
For sure. And speaking of Upper Arlington, obviously Orange will be traveling there today, and obviously I got Orange. This should be an easy game. You know, we have seen Orange. They're on a streak. They're looking like one of the best teams out there. You know, Levi Davis has just been running all over teams, so I think this should be a pretty easy victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Upper Arlington coming off a loss against Liberty doesn't really help with their confidence. And then Orange has got momentum. We've won the last 3 games in a row. I think that momentum really helps as far as deciding, you know, how you're going to play for the game, what kind of plays that you draw up when you are on a streak like that. You've got more confidence to throw some of those big plays out there and not be more conservative. So I definitely have Olentangy Orange in this game as well.
Yep. And then moving on to college football, we got some pretty good games. We got Ohio State versus Maryland. Maryland's actually undefeated this year. They're not ranked, which a lot of people are not happy about. Obviously, Ohio State, one of the best teams in the country every single year, and they should come away with the victory pretty easily here, especially coming off of 2 weeks ago being Notre Dame, who was one of the best teams in the country. You know, I think we saw a big progression in the Ohio State team. You know, obviously a young team this year, and I think they'll be able to win pretty easily against Maryland.
Yeah, and I think that OSU will probably end up with the win. I don't think that it'll be I think it'll be a bit closer than a lot of people see. Maryland's got a really, really complete offense, one of the best offensives in the Big Ten, and also just in the not in the National Football League, in the College Football League this year. I think that while they are unranked, I think they do deserve to be ranked. I think OSU, as long as they don't underestimate the power of that offense, if they have a good defensive game, I think they should be able to come up with the win.
Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest rivalries, the Red River Showdown between Oklahoma versus Texas. You know, not a big rivalry here, but in college football, it's Michigan, Ohio State, and right below that is Texas and Oklahoma. And Texas, you know, they got Quinn Ewers, who was a OSU quarterback and obviously left, and he's playing really well. He's actually got 15 total touchdowns on the ground, in the air, and no interceptions. He's playing amazing. But Oklahoma looks really good too. They got a Heisman candidate level quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, and they're coming off of a pretty good win against TCU, who obviously is in the national championship last year. But I got Texas. They look like one of the most complete teams in the country, and I think that they'll pull away with the victory in this game.
Yeah, I think that I'm also going to go with Texas in this game, mainly because of defense. I think both these teams have really good offenses, but I think that Texas defense is just something that it's really hard to go up against. I think they're going to be able to really slow down what Oklahoma has to offer on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that Texas is going to – there's a reason that they're the third-ranked team in the country this year. So I think they're going to pull up with the win in that.
Yeah, and so after college football, you know, Sunday, got NFL games, and we got some – good games. Rangers and Steelers, one of the biggest rivalries in sports. Me being a Ravens fan, I got to take the Ravens. You know, Lamar Jackson absolutely torched the Browns. And so I think that he'll be able to torch the Steelers. Obviously, Steelers have very good defense. I think it'll be a close game, low-scoring game probably, but I think the Ravens will be able to pull out, especially just they looked amazing in the Browns game.
Yeah, something that you see with the Steelers is that they have a good defense when they want to. I mean, in their first game, they just had an awful defensive performance against the 49ers. Their second week against the Browns had a great defensive performance. Last week, they lost to the Texans. They put up numbers on the Steelers' defense. I think that if this defense plays well, there's a chance that this game is closer than a lot of people would think, but I'm also going to have to go with the Ravens.
I think
Lamar's looking really good.
Yeah.
It's looking like he might have another MVP caliber year this year, so that's something to watch out for.
The other thing is the Steelers have like one of the worst offenses in the country, but yeah. So after that, the last game, big game, 49ers versus Cowboys. Two really good teams. Cowboys probably have the best defense player, Micah Parsons, on their side. Well, Christian McCaffrey's best running back in the league right now, coming off of a 4-touchdown performance in his last game. So I think this is going to be a good game, but I think the 49ers will be able to pull out. They just look like the most complete team in football right now, defense and offensively.
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on this. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Something that I see with the Cowboys is their defense is just, it's a monster defense. They scored 2 touchdowns against the Giants in their first week. They've held their teams to a lot of low-scoring points. Obviously, they lost to the Cardinals week 2. I think that was just one of those things where they underestimated the team, didn't play at their best. But I think that the Cowboys have something to prove in this game. It's really the best team in the league versus the second best team in the league this year, in my opinion. So I think that the Cowboys are going to really show up and be able to win this game.
All right, and that's all we have for weekly pick'ems. On Friday, football hosted Coffin for senior night and crushed them 35-14. Levi Davis had a great game with 3 rushing touchdowns and 269 total yards.
Football will be traveling to Upper Arlington tonight. Upper Arlington lost their last game against Liberty 16-19 in overtime. Tailgate starts at 5:30 in front of the school. Remember to show up, wear pink, and be loud. We'll see you there. That's all we have for today, Pioneers. I'm Connor Morrison. As always, be sure to support your nears and